Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch this implementation webinar on using Labster with Schoology. My name is Kevin, and on this webinar's agenda, I'll be going over the Labster onboarding overview, showing you a simulation upload demonstration, and talking about Labster support overview and best practices. So, your school has purchased access to Labster. Now what? Well, once a signed order form is received, a customer success manager will reach out to all instructors, admins, and bookstore contacts that will be involved in the Labster setup. Instructions to add the Labster LTI into your Schoology instance will then be sent to the LMS admin for integration, and as soon as your customer success manager receives confirmation from the LMS admin that the LTI integration is complete, instructors will be sent a status email confirming the completion of the integration. Instructors will then have the ability to successfully assign simulations directly into their course shell. At some point, a faculty training session is also held. This is to make sure that all instructors are properly trained and ready to use Labster. Your account manager will also be introduced at some point. Your account manager will be your main point of contact throughout your journey with using Labster. So now let's get into how to access Labster in Schoology and add simulations into your course. I'm going to go ahead and navigate into my Schoology homepage. From here, I will go into my courses option and select on the course that I'd like to use. In this case, I have already created my test course, which you can see I have some simulations that have already been added. This is what it's going to eventually look like once you add the simulations into your course. Now, once you have logged in, you can find your external tool link. Select on your external tool and choose the Labster option. And when you select the Labster external tool, you will be brought to the catalog of simulations, which I'll show you how to do right now. So under the course options, just make sure you are under materials. From there, I'm going to go ahead into my add materials and select on the drop-down arrow. Here as well, be able to find the Labster external tool link. Now, in most cases, it is named Labster 1.3 or Labster LTI 1.3 or something to that effect. Now, just for the purposes of this webinar, I'm just going to use the one that we use internally. So once you go ahead and select on your external tool, that is when our catalog opens up. I'm going to go ahead and first talk about course packages. So here we have hundreds of resources across many topics. These are curated lists, and you can find the course subject you are interested in and browse the simulations to see what we have. So for example, let's say you teach, a specific subject. So let's say you are in the subject of biology, but maybe more specifically, you do teach anatomy and physiology. You can simply select on that course package. And here we have course simulations, which have a direct connection with, in this case, anatomy and physiology. So it's going to make it much more easier and simpler to find simulations that are directly related to your subject. We also have related simulations, which have some type of connection with your specific subject, but just not as a direct connection as the course simulations would have. And we also have some fun animated videos as well. So from here, what you can also do is that these course packages are simpler and easier to use, but you're not just limited to these course packages. I'm going to go back and talk now about our simulations tab. So this entire platform is open for you to use. You will have access to our entire catalog of learning content. You can pick and choose simulations, science animation videos, theory supplements. All you have to simply do is just search, filter, or browse to find what you want. And you may want to open the simulation pages to see the specific techniques or topics. You can also click a favorite simulations in the catalog as well to find your most used simulations, which I'll show you how to do now. So again, you can simply go ahead and search for something specifically that you are looking for. And then underneath our simulations tab, again, you are more than welcome to go ahead in alphabetical order or whichever order you'd like to browse around all the simulations that we currently have. Now, this may take a little bit of time. So again, what we have done is created this filters tab here in this left panel, which you can see as I click on and off. I'm going to go ahead and click it again, and you could see here some different filters, which will help you narrow down your search. So if you're looking for simulations based on these related standards, based on specific subjects, education level, language, devices being used, duration, if you're looking for accessibility, mode options only, and then your favorites only simulations. So again, feel free to go ahead and use our filters option. Now, as you browse around the simulations, you'll be able to see some brief descriptions. So again, the code, this estimated amount of time, different devices it's compatible with, as well as the different education levels it's available in as well. So what I would suggest is to go ahead and click on a simulation to actually open it. I'm going to go ahead and just choose a random one here. So let's go with, let's just go with bacterial isolation. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now here's where you can see everything that the virtual lab has to offer. So for example, you'll have the name here. You could see the learning objectives, any relevant lab techniques, the length and relevant standards. So you can actually click to play it, which is right here. That's the actual play button for the simulation. So playing it in full with the quiz questions embedded throughout. Here are your instructor resources, which are only available for you as instructors. Your students will not be able to see any of this information. So again, you'll have access to our learning supplements that come with each simulation. Depending on which simulation you choose, some may come with more than others. So we have a lab report template, a complete lab manual, theory page, and downloadable quiz questions. Now, every sim features a lab manual, just like study guide and a lab report. Lab manuals feature simulation hypnosis, learning objectives, techniques, and some relevant theory. They are usually 4 to 5 pages each and available in Google Doc format, so teachers can edit them by downloading them to Word. Instructors often assign these to students before they play before they play the simulation as in preparation. In Google Docs, teachers can also click share to copy the manual URL and add it to their syllabus or LMS. There's also a separate theory page you can assign at any time, almost like all digital textbook chapters. We also have 3D animation videos you can assign or show for more difficult concepts or for review. And we have a library of 2,000 and plus more downloadable 2D science images for just about every science concept you could think of. And under our translation guide, you'll find which simulations fully translate into the different languages. So again, here is where you can also find the simulation preview, which is a great way for you to go ahead and kind of get a sense of what your students are going to be doing without you actually having to play the simulation itself. So for example, if I just hit play here, this is one of our employees who has played the simulation in full for you. So again, you can get a glimpse of what your students would be doing in case you want to review the simulation this way as well. Pause that and go a little bit further down, which again, you can see the length, the accessibility mode options, and available languages as well as a full description. The learning objectives are here as well for you to take a look, lab techniques, related standards. And here is where you'll be able to go ahead and take a look at the About section, which gives you, again, a full description of what the simulation teaches and covers and its case-based storyline. And then at the bottom, there are also some images and any related simulations. Now again, if this downloadable simulation images as well. Now again, if this looks like a simulation that you may want to add, you can simply go ahead and click the Add button here on the top corner and then place it into your course. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And you can see here, the simulation has now been added into my course. So what's nice about Schoology is that once you add a simulation into your course, it actually already gets published, meaning it's available live for your students to play. So now that the simulation is published, you can still edit it in a few different ways. For example, if you want to put in any specific points or due dates, simply here through the settings tool, you can go ahead and again, unpublish it, which still puts it into your course, but just doesn't make it live for your students. You can move it around, copy course, delete, or again, you can go ahead and edit to whatever you may be needing. So again, making sure enable grading is selected to make sure that the scores and the quiz questions get automatically transferred into your Schoology gradebook. You can assign a points value system, a due date, and so on and so forth, and just go ahead and hit on Save Changes. Perfect. So again, that is accessing the catalog and adding the simulations into your Schoology course. Actually, a brand new feature we have now introduced is the quiz editor. So what you could do is actually just click on the simulation itself, which I'll do right now. And you can see here that another great thing is that the simulation is all embedded within Labster. Your students will be able to access any simulations that you publish within your Schoology course. They will not need a separate login for Labster, which is great. Again, everything is all embedded through Schoology, so as long as they have access to your Schoology course, they'll have access to the simulations that you add. Now again, just going back into the quiz questions, the editing feature, you can now edit the quiz for however you see best fit for your students. You can change or add your own questions to the simulation itself. So again, this is the default quiz. You can go ahead, hit create new quiz. And from there, go ahead and name your quiz question. If you want to add questions, you could do so much more customizable things that we give you the ability to do now. Perfect. So I'm going to go back into my course again. And the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the teacher dashboard or the Labster dashboard. Now, our instructor dashboard tracks students' progress, scores, and attempts, and you can export the results into Excel or drill down to see all of your students' individual answers. Now, to go ahead and actually add the Labster dashboard, what you're going to do is the same thing under Add Materials. Go ahead and select on your Labster external tool link. Again, I'm just going to use the one we use for internal purposes. And you may have noticed when you access the catalog, one of the very first options it gives you is the Labster dashboard, which again, you can gain access to detailed insights on students' performance, language, and other settings. So if you click on Add, this is what you'll be able to go ahead and have access to. So again, as an instructor, your teacher dashboard will give you access to student grades, completion rate, completed date and time, the score, students' amount of time that they spent on the simulations, the attempt number and total number of attempts, as well as the detailed answers. So full quiz question list in full text and in order of completion, answered correctly the first time and answered incorrectly the first time, plus number of tries to get it right. Your students will also have access to their student dashboard. However, the only things that they'll be able to see is just their own grades and any user preferences. So if they need to change any language settings or accessibility mode options. And again, if I want to go ahead and add our Labster dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and simply click on Add to Course. And you can see here, the Labster dashboard has been added. So I'm going to go ahead and select on that to show you what it looks like. Perfect. So again, here is where you'll be able to go ahead and have access into your teacher dashboard. Just working from the embedded course within Schoology. You can have direct access to our catalog. Here, you'll be able to make sure that your course is properly selected. Underneath that, you'll be able to see the simulations that have been added into your course, which you can see here. You can also take a look at the students who, again, are registered into your class. Here, you'll be able to see, again, making sure your students are properly registered. And then here, under grades per simulation, you could take a look at all the grades, or the scores, rather, that your students have been doing. Now, again, we don't have any information on that just yet because this is just a test course, but eventually they will appear here. And then your grades per student will also be here where you can track down on their performance. Now, again, the next thing that I want to go ahead and talk about are your instructor resources. So here you can find our many different blog articles, webinar recordings, user guides, case studies, and more to help you get started and understand how to use the simulations. You can find those instructor resources here on this little light bulb icon on the bottom corner, which if you hover over, just says instructor resources. You can simply click on that. And here it takes you to our resources page on our website, where again, we have a great educator's guide to Labster. So giving you an introduction and going by chapter, sort of a roadmap of what to expect when you are, again, using Labster. So everything from technical setup, overview of features, We have many great support articles on teaching with Labster, which we have gotten great feedback on, student troubleshooting in case anything goes wrong with the simulations, student help resources, any other additional resources as well. Now, what's great is that your students would also have access to their own webinar guide. So you could see here, Student's Guide to Labster. So again, this is a great way to share this guide with your students to give them a better understanding of how to get started with using Labster as well. So again, many great things that you can find in our Instructor Resources tab. What's also available for you as well is going to be our Community Campus, which again, this gives you the ability to go ahead and bounce around different ideas with other educators who are using Labster as well. So again, you can ask questions and get ideas, get insights, get tips on some of the best ways to go ahead and use Labster. Again, many great things that you can go ahead and collaborate with other instructors as well. So feel free to go ahead and sign in and join up with our Community Campus. And then the last thing is going to be our Labster Support and Help Center. So here, if you click on that, that gives you direct access to our Labster Help Center page, where you can find answers to all your logistical questions, including minimum system requirements and how we integrate into your school LMS, as well as instructions for students. We'll talk about this in just a moment. But again, that is accessing Labster through Schoology, as well as adding the simulations and adding the dashboard into your Schoology course. So I just want to quickly talk about some Labster best practices, some do's and don'ts. So as far as do's, we do recommend you use laptop, desktop, Chromebook, or iPad, using Chrome or Firefox as web browsers, closing out any other websites and softwares, waiting until the simulation loads to 100%, and ensuring your IT team whitelist emails from @labster.com. Some things that we don't recommend is using a mobile device or any other type of device that we have listed, using Safari or other web browsers, which again are not the ones that we recommended. Also running other software and websites at the same time as the simulation is running or trying to load, and clicking away while the simulation loads as well. So again, just want to go ahead and talk about our instructor resources one more time. So you have access to our Help Center and reaching out to support team using the blue intercom button in the lower right-hand corner of any Labster page. Our, again, Community Campus, which is just a great teacher forum to bounce around different ideas with amongst one another, and our Instructor Resource page, where you can go ahead, find out some great guides and articles on how to use new sims and teaching with Labster as well. Now, as far as questions, again, should anything come up, you can always reach out to your main point of contacts, which will be your account manager. You can also reach out to your customer success manager. But again, that is it as far as taking a look at Schoology. Taking a look at Labster with Schoology. Appreciate you taking the time. As always, if you have any questions, we are just one click away. Thank you so much.